iPhone 14 Pro is Apple's best current smartphone on the market today, but the Samsung Galaxy S23 has been a certified hit with blazing fast performance. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the iPhone 14 Pro versus Galaxy S23 in a speed test comparison. Let's begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro does rock the Apple A16 Bionic chipset. It's coupled with 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it does have an Apple in-house GPU. Now over here, we do have the Samsung Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy. So it's a Qualcomm chip, but it was designed for Galaxy. And it does have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now you've seen the iPhone did turn on faster. And another thing you'll notice is both of these phones are around the same size. But the Samsung S23, even though it's offering a similar triple camera setup, similar size, punch hole versus this big thing up here, the dynamic island, it is a much cheaper device, with the iPhone 14 Pro coming in closer to the S23 Plus and Ultra line. So this could be quite the value. Now, when it comes to unlocking these phones, the iPhone 14 Pro, just like other iPhones, still uses Face ID, which is incredibly fast to recognize your face. The only time you'll really miss with this is if you're looking at the most extreme angles. But, even on an angle, it can still pick it up. So very fast and reliable, although no fingerprint sensor, neither on the home button nor within the screen. Now on the Samsung Galaxy S23, you will find yourself the in-display fingerprint sensor, and this is very reliable and also very fast. I also want to point out that if you bring this up to your face, there is a face unlock as well. You have to set it up in settings, but this one right here also pretty quick. I do believe that the S23 is quicker because you don't actually have to look at the phone to unlock it. You don't even have to turn it on. You can just know where that fingerprint sensor is at and unlock the phone. So from a biometrics perspective, the S23 has more options and is faster, but it's hard to beat that secure unlocking face method. That is also really cool, especially when in banking apps and applications that need a little more security. It offers security and convenience. Now, just going through their home screens, both of these employ a 120 Hz panel, although the adaptive refresh does get to a lower hertz on the iPhone 14 Pro. You will find that the Samsung Galaxy S23 is just as smooth as the iPhone 14 Pro, and because the adaptive refresh doesn't really require too much, it does look a little choppier here in the app library than when scrolling through the app library or the app section in the app drawer in the S23. So S23 in my eye is a little bit smoother overall, but the iPhone pretty much the same as well. Not a major change whatsoever. Speed wise, generally operating these systems is going to be about the same. So that's quite impressive considering you'll get the S23 for several $100s less. All right, guys, so we have arrived at the application portion of the speed test. You could see everything closed out for both devices. Let's go ahead and begin with calendar. And you can see faster for the iPhone. We'll go into calculator, and that might have been faster on the left. We'll go into weather. Looks like Samsung has this one, although it is loading up the animation up there. Samsung did load the weather application first. Let's head up out of here. We'll go into Play Store versus App Store, and you're going to find, I think that was the left. Let me know down below. We'll go to the app section on both, faster on the right, and scrolling through, pretty much a similar affair. Let me head up out of there. We'll go into Instagram now, and Instagram is first there on the right. We'll come home here. Let's go over here to my latest post. And that's going to be on the right. So pretty good performance on either. Once in application, there's not a major difference between either phone. Let's go ahead now and go into Groupon, and you'll find Groupon first there on the right, and the categories first there on the right, and a little faster on the right. Scrolling out, we'll go into Amazon for both phones. We're going to find that faster on the Samsung. We'll hit this hoodie, hit another one. And looks like it was faster on the right. Let's go into Best Buy. And Best Buy does launch here first on the iPhone products, first on the Samsung. And you'll see that these phones are trading blows in terms of loading. It's pretty much one or the other's loading one thing and then the other's loading the other thing. So basically, either way you decide to go here, you are going to end up getting really rock solid performance. Let's go into eBay, and you'll see eBay first there on the right. But even with this smaller screen, Samsung software does take better advantage of that power, offering you powerful multitasking features. With the Samsung launching Starbucks first, all right, so let's go into Dead Trigger 2. And typically the iPhone does win it out in games here. And you're going to find the Samsung actually launched this first. When actually playing the game, both of them do pretty well. They also don't get too hot in the gaming section, Asphalt 9. But here's where I'm really impressed with the S23. It's that Samsung's charging $700 for this phone and giving you, $1,000 iPhone 14 Pro performance, even faster in some areas. So this is a heck of a deal, especially when you consider those carrier deals they have and when they're like offering trade-in discounts and you're not even paying the full $700. I mean, the S23 is a steal. Let's go into Subway Surfers. Not as full retail as a steal. It's pretty competitive, but at the price, this is one of the better S23 offerings. Let's hit tap to play. And you'll see even in the games, quite similar. The iPhone 14 Pro is a much heavier phone though, so if you prefer a lighter, more ergonomic feeling phone in the hand, you also will like the S23, but the iPhone 14 Pro does have the heftier, more premium feel. So if you do like that, I would suggest the iPhone 14 Pro here. But either way you go, you are a winner if you choose either one of these phones, is what I'm seeing so far. Let's go into Call of Duty. And the good thing is that both of these phones, if you want to play games, you can do that really good. If you want to open up applications, you could do that really good. There's a lot you can do. And it looks like the iPhone has loaded the Call of Duty game pretty close to the same, maybe a little bit faster, but both of them pretty darn good in this area as well. I will say heavier games will heat up a little bit more, but on the whole, they both can run the hottest games out there, the hottest titles, the best titles, without it, burning your hand. Like, they're both pretty darn good at cooling. They're no gaming phone for cooling, but if you just casually want to play some games here and there while still having high-end cameras, good battery life, good software, nice design, you can get either one of these and be pretty happy with it. However, both of them are a little small if you're a hardcore gamer, so I do recommend going to a larger Galaxy phone or a larger iPhone if you do prefer to game quite a bit on your phone. And KineMaster looked faster on the iPhone, but overall, in this app test, I'm going to call it pretty much a draw, because some were opening first on the iPhone, some were opening on the Samsung. This is neck and neck, even though the iPhone is $300 or more if you go up in storage than the S23. All right, so let's go ahead and run a reload test here with the iPhone 14 Pro. So if I hit KineMaster, that opens pretty nice. And you're gonna see with the iPhone, you're gonna get this buttery smooth transition when coming out of the applications. Now, I've been doing a lot of speed tests lately, and I'm still yet to see a phone that does it this well. Now, the Xiaomi 13 Pro did get quite close to the iPhone, but if you take a look at that animation, it is so good on the iPhone. It's really tough to beat it when going back through the applications, and it really gives me a sense of polish, a sense of refinement that I don't see on a lot of competing devices. Now, the Samsung has a nice polished feel as well, but it's a little bit less refined looking when it comes back to reopening these applications, and sometimes I'm missing too much the side right there. But Samsung has been doing a great job with improving their animations, but still not quite iPhone good when it comes to reloading them. But on that initial launch, they're quite fast. You can also go into developer settings and speed it up a little bit if you would like. But I will tell you that the iPhone still has a little bit more polished feel, but neither of them reloaded many applications at all. So they're pretty much even when it comes to actually holding them here in the background. Okay, and the final Geekbench results are in. Geekbench 6, aka Apple Bench to some people, as I've heard in the comments. We have a win here on the iPhone. 6216. This is ridiculous. Look at his score, bro. 6216 on the multi. Check out the S23, 4340, 1624 on that single with a 2496 on the iPhone. Now, let me go ahead and run a 3D Mark benchmark extreme. Let's see if the iPhone can win here. Now, in my past speed tests, before these recent updates, it's on 16.4.1a. This one's on the latest version of One UI 5.1. The Samsungs have been winning it out here in the 3D Mark test, proving that, you can't put too much stock in the Geekbench because what you're going to get out of it is just a number, but in reality, you're going to find some better performance in certain areas on the S23 and better performance in some areas on the iPhone. So I'll be back when they're done spinning up these graphics and they give us a score. I'll see you in a minute. And unlike the Geekbench test, you see the Samsung Galaxy S23 finishing with a 3488 on its overall score, but it's finished first, 20.90 on its average frame rate. Now, zooming in a little bit on the iPhone, you're going to find a lower score of 3229 with a 19 point, this one's kind of hot back here, and 19.3 on the average frames a second. Now this score is better than 81% of devices. The Samsung phone over here, a little bit better scores and scores better than 85% of devices. So that might mean that the Samsung gives you a little bit better performance in graphical, but it really kind of depends on how well was the app developed for the particular phone. So at the end of the day, what is the conclusion here? Well, it's pretty similar to when I did the iPhone 14 Pro Max versus the Galaxy S23 Ultra. We have the smaller options here. Both are incredibly quick, and day to day, they launch things about the same. But there's one big difference here, and that is that the Samsung has bigger zoom and a cheaper price. The iPhone has a heftier, more premium feel, but doesn't offer too much over the Samsung, but giving you a much bigger price tag of around $1,000 or so. You want to go up from there with storage. So let me know which one you would pick down below in the comments section of this video. If you found it helpful, click the thumbs up. If you disliked it, thumbs down. I really don't care if you thumbs down. It just shows me that you don't want to see that particular content again. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.